Hello students. Now we are going to discuss another important topic, amines. First we should understand what are the compounds are called as amines. Actually amine is a functional group. So amines are class of organic compound which formed by replacing one or more hydrogen of ammonia by alkyl or aryl group. Those compounds are called amines. What is this ONC? This ONC is nothing but when your organic compound contains nitrogen, all the compounds will be called as ONC. In that one of the type is amines. So amines are nothing but carbon single bonded with nitrogen, and this carbon is not supposed to be carbonyl carbon. Another class of compound is imines. Imines are nothing but carbon double bonded with nitrogen. Another class of compound is cyanide, carbon triple bonded with nitrogen. Then we have nitro. Nitro means carbon bonded with NO2 group. Then isonitrito, carbon bonded with oxygen. That oxygen is bonded with nitrogen. Then we have diazo group. Diazo group is nothing but carbon bonded with nitrogen. The nitrogen is bonded with another nitrogen. So it should be called as diazonium group. Then we have carboamide group. Amide is nothing but nitrogen is bonded with carbonyl carbon. So these are the different class of compound in which we have the nitrogen as one of the element. Now we are going to discuss particularly amine. In amines we have three types of amines. It based on primary, secondary, tertiary amine. Primary amine, secondary amine, tertiary amine. On which basis we are classifying primary, secondary, tertiary amine is we are taking ammonia. So in ammonia, nitrogen is bonded with 3 hydrogen. We can replace one hydrogen by alkyl group. Alkyl or aryl? If one of the hydrogen get replaced by alkyl or aryl group, it forms primary amine. If two hydrogens are getting replaced by alkyl or aryl group, it may be different or the same. It leads to the formation of secondary amine. So here we have primary, this is secondary. If all the 3 hydrogen of ammonia get replaced by alkyl or aryl group, forms tertiary amine. So this will be called as tertiary amine. So in primary amine, the nitrogen is bonded with 2 hydrogen. In secondary, nitrogen is bonded with only 1 hydrogen. In tertiary, there will be no hydrogen directly bonded with nitrogen. One way of classifying, one way to identify whether it is primary or secondary is by identifying the number of carbon atom which is directly bonded with nitrogen. Another way to identify primary or secondary or tertiary amine is how many hydrogen is directly bonded with nitrogen. Is it clear? So next, what we have discussed now, that is only. So we have primary amine. So primary amine means one of the hydrogen of ammonia get replaced by alkyl or aryl group. It can be alkyl or aryl group. For this type of amine, the IUPAC nomenclature is very simple one. Alkan amine. Alkan amine. So in alkane part, we should mention the number of carbon in the longest chain with amine to mention the functional group. Secondary amine means 2 hydrogen of ammonia get replaced by alkyl or aryl group. See, one possibility is both the groups may be same or the groups may be different. R1 R and R dash. If they are same, to name the first case of secondary amine, the format is for secondary amine the format is N alkyl alkylamine. We will see the examples now. N alkyl alkylamine. What is N alkyl alkylamine? So here we should mention one alkyl part. Here we should mention one alkyl part. Alkyl part is nothing but number of carbon. In first case we should mention one number of number of alkane, certain number of carbon. In another case we should mention certain number of carbon. How can we identify this? So first ALK, alk represent less number of carbon. Another AL, second followed by ALK represent more number of carbon. So tertiary amine. Tertiary amine means all the hydrogen of ammonia get replaced by alkyl group. It may be the 3 alkyl group may be same, or 2 may be same and 1 will be different, or 2 R dash, R N, R dash, R double dash. The format is, if minimum 2 alkyl groups are same, the format is NN dialkyl alkylamine. If all the 3 are different, all 3 alkyl groups are different, N alkyl alkylamine. You see the example. With the example you will get the clear idea. Fourth category is quaternary amines. Quaternary is nothing but it's actually a salt. Quaternary ammonium salt. It should be called as quaternary ammonium salt. We know very well, in ammonia the nitrogen is bonded with 3 hydrogen and having 1 lone pair of electron. When the lone pair is donated to an alkyl or aryl group, it will be called as quaternary ammonium salt. NR4, the nitrogen having positive charge. To stabilize this positive, there will be a species which is having negative charge. So it will be called as ammonium salt. Quaternary ammonium salt. Okay. To name the amine compound, first we should know which type of amine is that. So here we have example. First we should identify whether it is primary or secondary or tertiary amine. Here nitrogen is bonded with only 1 carbon and nitrogen is having 2 hydrogen. So it is, the amine is primary amine. So primary amine, what is the general format? Alkyne amine, and here we have only 1 carbon. So 1 carbon means methanamine. This is the IUPAC name. Here primary amine. Why primary amine? Because nitrogen is bonded with only 1 alkyl group, 2 hydrogen. 1 alkyl group, 2 hydrogen. So it is primary amine. For primary amine, the name is alkyne amine. Here we should mention number of carbon in the longest chain. Here 2 carbon in the longest chain. So ethanamine. Here nitrogen is bonded with 2 methyl group and 1 hydrogen. 2 methyl group, 1 hydrogen. So it is secondary amine. For secondary amine, the name should be N alkyl alkylamine. And here also methyl, here also methyl. There is no difference. So we can consider anyone as we can mention any number of any alkyl part in first part, in any alkyl part in the second part. So it will be called as N methyl, because first we should mention alkyl. So methyl. In ALK part we should mention the number of carbon. Here also meth, here also meth. There is no difference. So methyl, then methanamine, N-methyl methanamine. Why we are calling N-methyl methanamine is, see, we have methanamine. Now in how will convert methanamine to N-methyl methanamine? Just replace one of the hydrogen in methanamine of nitrogen then attach one methyl. So our methyl group is attached to the nitrogen. That's why it is called as N-methyl-methanamine. This N-methyl-methanamine refers your methyl group is attached to nitrogen. The nitrogen is present in the amine group of methanamine. Now here nitrogen is bonded to 3 methyl group, 3 alkyl group. So it will be called as tertiary amine. The classification is tertiary. And here minimum 2 alkyl groups are same. Here all the 3 are same, but minimum 2 is same means NN dialkyl alkanamine. So NN dialkyl. Here we should mention the number of carbon. So dimethyl, NN dimethyl methanamine. NN dimethyl methanamine. And here 3 carbon in the longest chain is primary amine. So propanamine. Propanamine. Here 3 carbon in the longest chain is primary amine only, but amine functional group is not present in the terminal, it is non-terminal. So 1, 2, 3. In both the possibility, the amine functional group attached to the second carbon. So propan 2 amine or 2 propanamine or 2 propanamine. Here 3 carbon in the longest chain, anyhow you will get a 3 carbon in the longest chain, and amine group is attached to the second carbon, methyl group is also attached to the second carbon. So 2 methyl propan 2 amine, 2 methyl propan 2 amine. Is it clear? Now next, if compound contain more than one functional group and a functional group which has higher priority over amine, amine group will be considered as will act as substituent. Will act as substituent, and it should be mentioned as amino. It should be mentioned as amino. When it should be mentioned as amino? If compound contain functional group which has higher priority over amine. It should be mentioned in secondary prefix. It should be mentioned in secondary prefix of IUPAC name as amino. Kindly change this one. It should be mentioned in secondary prefix of IUPAC name. We know very well, secondary prefix plus primary prefix plus root word plus primary suffix plus secondary suffix. This is a full format, right? So in this, if compound contain only amine functional group, we will use secondary suffix to mention that amine functional group. In case if the compound is having functional group which is as higher priority over amine, then the higher priority functional group should be mentioned in secondary suffix. Higher priority functional group should be mentioned in secondary suffix. At that time, amine functional group should be act as substituent and it should be mentioned in secondary prefix as amino. Clear? Let's see that example. Now 2 carbon and the functional group present in the compound is carboxylic acid because OH is attached to the carbonyl carbon. 2 carbon in the longest chain. So eth, then carbon contact by single bond, ane, E will come, but the functional group is carboxylic acid, so ethanoic acid is a IUPAC name. Now we have ethanoic acid here, but we have amine functional group. That amine functional group attached to the second carbon because now this has higher priority 1, 2. Now nitrogen is attached to the second carbon, so it should be called as 2-amino ethanoic acid. Is it clear? Now here the functional group is aldehyde. For aldehyde functional group, name should be end with Al. Secondary suffix should be Al. 2 carbon in the longest chain. So eth, carbon contact by single bond A, and the functional group is aldehyde. So ethanol. Now here we have same aldehyde functional group, but we have 3 carbon. So 1, 2, 3. So why can't we can start to number the carbon chain from here. Higher priority functional group is aldehyde. So aldehyde should get the least number. So 1, 2, 3. Amine functional group attached to the third carbon. So 3 amino propanol. Try to name this compound by your own. Name will be check the answer. Here functional group is ketone functional group. For ketone functional group, name should be end with ONE. Here also ketone. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 amino, 5 carbon in the longest chain, and second carbon having ketone functional group, pent 5 carbon in the longest chain, carbon have a single bond ene. Second carbon is having ketone functional group. Is that clear? Okay, I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next discussion.